Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is your absolute kitchen basics, things you should have in your kitchen at a bare minimum. First thing is a decent chopping board. This is my favourite one of several I'm lucky to have. As you can see, it's well used. Occasionally gets a little bit burnt. I prefer this type of chopping board. Obviously, glass or plastic, whichever you like. Just make sure you don't put burning hot things on glass or plastic chopping boards because it goes wrong. Second thing you need is a tin opener. You're not going to get into any tins without one of these. Costs about £1 in the pound shop, obviously. Very useful. You need one. Third thing rather, again, I got that wrong again, is peelers. A peeler. Either have your old-fashioned one, this costs about 12p these days, or your standard speed peeler. These are good because nice fast blade, and you can have your little bits on the end there for digging things out of spuds and what have you. Plus, you don't need to just use them for peeling, you can use them for doing ribbons of stuff and things, which we'll hopefully show you in the future. Next thing you need is a potato masher. This is mine, cost me about £1. It mashes potatoes and other things. Don't really need to tell you any more than that, but they are very useful. Graters. I have two. Most people have your standard box grater. I tend to only use this side mostly for cheese, or occasionally if I'm doing like a carrot cake or something like that. So this one's good for slicing. You don't need a mandolin. These graters are about £1. This does the same job. Obviously be careful of your fingers. These two sides you tend to use for things like nutmeg, that sort of thing. And your small grater, I use mine for hard cheese, stuff like that, for pasta, that sort of thing. But also can be used to a lot of things like mincing garlic, zesting, that sort of thing. Has the same type of holes as your large grater, which again is a bit better than these for things like citrus zest. Most cooking you need to measure stuff. So your standard glass measuring jug, you'll see me using this a lot. Again, cost me about £1. It measures stuff. It's about the size you need for the vast majority of recipes you're going to use, unless you're cooking for a lot of people. And yeah, it's easy to clean. It's made of glass. It measures things. One thing we did forget, or two things: wooden spoon and whisk. Again, super cheap. Very useful for stirring things, making sauces, whipping, obviously, and that sort of thing. Very, very useful. Wooden spoons are especially good for looking after your pans. If you've got expensive pans, don't use metal, use wood. Also, everybody needs these. You're cooking stuff in hot water, pasta, potatoes, veg. You need a colander, like that one, to drain them. Otherwise, you can't do it with your hand. That's silly. Again, cost about £1. Similarly with your standard sieve, you're not going to sift much without one of those. Again, small things like rice, draining them, really, really important. Again, super, super cheap. You don't need to spend a lot of money on these things. And finally, holy trinity of wrapping and stuff. Every kitchen should have these 3 rolls in them: greaseproof paper, cling film, kitchen foil. They're not expensive. You don't have to buy £4 a pack stuff. You'll see me using all 3 of these a lot. They're good not just for wrapping stuff up to put in the fridge, also for cooking, limiting the amount of washing up you have to do with your stuff and stopping stuff from sticking.